Hello guys, my name is Foss and welcome to my first Blender tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to teach you guys how to download Blender and how to use it. The first beginner basics of Blender. So, to start, you gotta open any of your search engines. You can use Mozilla Firefox, you can use Chrome, or you could use Opera Mini. Well, as for me, I'm gonna use Chrome. Okay. So I'm gonna type Blender all versions, click, and then it's gonna take me to the website. So I'm gonna go to the up to down website, so click on it, and then it takes me to the Blender file, the Blender website, sorry, where you can see all the releases. There's Blender 4.1, that's the latest Blender, but the one I'm going to be using for this tutorial is going to be Blender 3.6. Okay, so just click on it, and then scroll down, click on downloads, and then it's downloading. Great. So when it starts downloading, you're gonna see it here. It's gonna download. So let's just skip to when it's done. So when it's done downloading, it's gonna appear in your download. So all you have to do is double click on it. Well, this is the Blender 3.6. So you gotta just double click on it, and then it takes you to the place you could install. So we press next, and I press I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click on it, next, then we press next, and then you press install. Good. So we press yes, and then it installs. Well, when the Blender file finally installs and opens, I'm gonna be teaching you guys just the beginner basics in Blender, just a little fragment. Then in the next tutorial, we're gonna continue and go more deeper and advanced into Blender. So, okay, let's just wait a while so it could install finish. Then we start our main tutorial. When it's done installing, you can click finish. So now let's open the Blender 3.6. So I open the Blender 3.6 app, and okay, so now let's start Blender. Hello guys, it's Frost. I'm back from my break, and I'm gonna be teaching you guys all about this aspect in Blender for today, for this tutorial. So once your Blender app opens, this is what it's gonna look like. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna teach you guys all about is how to delete a mesh or anything in Blender. Then we can move here. Great. So now first, what is Blender? Well, Blender is an app that you can use to model for games, or you could use it to do a product animation, anything you would want to use it to do. It's your choice. Okay, so this here is a mesh cube. You can delete the mesh cube by selecting it and then pressing X on your keyboard and press enter. Oh, I enabled my screencast key, so anything I do will show up here. It's just a little place. Okay, so now there's the second way. You can right click and go to delete, and it goes off. The third way is you press X on your keyboard. You press delete on your keyboard, and then it goes off. So we're done with that. So now this here is the select box. There's a select box, there's a select circle, there's a select lasso. So, and there's a tweak. Well, the normal default one is select box, and then I advise you to use select box because it's the best and it's also the default. So you could run around with this ones, but I'm not gonna be teaching you guys about this one. So it's just the circles. I mean the select box. We're gonna be using throughout. Okay. This here is the cursor. This little guy here is a little doohickey in the middle. So this here is the cursor. It's you could change your cursor, and the cursor actually determines where your object or anything will be inserted or brought to the viewport. Okay, so we could change our cursor by clicking on the cursor and then click on the place we want it to be. So I click here, and then I can import a mesh, a cube again, and it appears there. I could do it here, import anything, a mesh, icosphere, and it appears there. So it actually determines where anything will be imported. Okay, but there's another shortcut. There's a shortcut on how to do it. You can press shift right click, and it goes off. Shift right click, shift right click, shift right click, and it changes. Okay, so we're done with that. So now let's go to the move. The move, it enables you to actually move your object to the x-axis, to the y-axis, or to the z-axis. Or it's another way in case you're like clicking on here is actually stress. So all you gotta do is G and grab to anywhere you want. If you want it to be located in an axis, you could just press G to the x-axis, and it moves to the x-axis, G to the z-axis, move to the z-axis, G to the y-axis, and move to the y-axis. Good. So this here is rotate. This little lines here. So the rotate can rotate your objects, just the name rotate. It can rotate your object 360, 180, 450, anything. So depending on what you want. Okay. You can rotate it to the y-axis, to the x, or to the z. This here is called the scale. This here is called the scale. Okay. The scale enables you to increase the size of your object either to the x-axis, to the y-axis, or to the z-axis. Okay. There's also a shortcut on how to scale. You can press S to the x-axis, you can press S to the y-axis, or to the z-axis. This boss, a nigga here, is called the transform. He is the alpha. He's the combination of both the grab, the rotate, and the scale at the same time. So this little points here are the move. And this little lines here are for rotating. And then this little cubes here are for the scaling to any axis you want. This here is an annonate line. So this is an annonate line. An annonate line is like a pencil that draws a straight line. This is an annonate. So this one is like for freestyling. If you have a screen torch laptop like mine, you could draw freestyle on your screen. This here is a zigzag line. It's also called an annonate polygon. And this here is an annonate eraser. Okay. This here is called the measure. If you like working on a building or construction, you're modeling for a construction company, you need to get the right length for the bricks in your modeling. all you gotta do is click on measure, then left click, drag, and move to the end of the stuff you want. So the length of the face of this cube is 1.99938 meters. Good. So remember how I told you Blender has like different kind of ways and how to do everything? This here is also a way of importing an object. You can import a cube, you can import a cone, a cylinder, a UV sphere, or an icosphere. So let's import a cone. So in order to import it, you have to left click and drag. Then you can decide if you want it to face up or to face down. Well, as for me, I wanted to face down. So down, and then you get your cone. Get your cone. Upside down cone. Oh, there's also another way on how to do it. You could press Shift A and then go to mesh, and then, well, I choose torso this time. This is the torso. Or there's actually another way on how to do it. You could go to this little add here, this little add menu here. Click on it and then go to mesh. Then you can import anything you want. A cylinder. Let's try that. Well, I've come to the end of the tutorial. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.